All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I of course want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Yahweh, which is the name of the Most High, and Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the only begotten Son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I also would like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, Great Millstone, which are the true elders of Israel on the earth in these last days, whether you can receive that or not. Anyway, this is just going to be another preaching. And today I first wanted to start off with, looking at the news lately, man. And, you can see what's going on with this whole, UFO thing, man. Okay, I mean, you got to think about it. Wait a second. Why the hell, all of a sudden, why the hell are they, now talking all about these, these UFOs? Well, they call them UFOs, here on the news, man, right? You talk to, all of the people about it. I mean, hell, even what's that guy? Even PewDiePie is even talking about it on his channel, man. All right, so they got everybody thinking these UFOs are little green men from Mars, or something of like nature. But the truth of the matter, man, is those UFOs are actually the chariots of the Most High, man. Okay, those UFOs, the angels are inside of those UFOs. Okay, and that goes all the way back to the ancient times, man. Like, say for an example, when you deal with the story of Exodus, which Lord willing, that's what I want to talk about in this video, man, is the story of the Exodus, if it be the Lord's will. But when you deal with the story of Exodus, right, when the children of Israel were taken from Egypt, right, when they were brought to the Red Sea, um their the thing that led them, right, because it said that there was a star that led them, but the truth is that star was actually a UFO. Okay, it said what? It was a pillar of fire by day, and a pillar of smoke by day and a pillar of fire by night, if my memory serves me correctly. All right. Anyway, without further rambling on, we are going to get into it. I believe it's in. Let me find it real quick. Go to the book of Exodus, chapter. Let me see. I believe I want to go to chapter 7. Itchy out here. Anyway, let me see. I'm not going to get everything just for the sake of the time, so I can get as much edification as possible. But if you want to read, the story for yourself, you just go to, the book of Exodus. Anyway, we're going to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 7. And let's start at verse. Let's start at verse 17. Okay, so to get the whole context right, the Lord Yahweh, right, he revealed Salakia, himself unto Moses, right? So he's going to use Moses to set free the children of Israel from underneath the power of Pharaoh, right, of Egypt at that time in history. Okay, anyway, Exodus chapter 7 and verse 17, it says, "Thus says the Lord, in this thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand, and upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned into blood. And the fish that is in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Egyptians shall loathe to drink of the water thereof." All right, and the Lord spoke unto Moses, say unto Aaron, take thy rod, stretch out thy hand upon the waters of Egypt, and upon their streams, upon the rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. Right. So what happened at that time is the what's the river called? Damn, I can't think of it. But anyway, the rivers around Egypt, right, the Red Sea, and all of the pools of water that they would have, like the watering holes, right? Because back then, what they would do is like today you have wells, right, where you put the bucket of water down into the well, and bring up the water for you, right? So they had systems that were similar to that back then, all right? But anyway, the Lord was going to turn them all into blood, man. Okay, and it's a similar thing as well, because if you go to what is that, Revelation, I believe it's the 16th chapter, when it speaks about the plagues that are coming upon modern day Babylon, which is America. You can see they're very similar with the plagues that took place back in that time. Okay, and that's why what's getting ready to happen, man, all right, can be likened to the second Exodus. Okay, the second Exodus is about to take place, but this time it's going to be from deliverance from the land of America, man. Okay, anyway, let's see. And it says, and Moses and Aaron did so as the Lord commanded. And he lifted up the rod and smote the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants. And all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. And the fish that was in the river died, and the water stank, and the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river. And there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, neither did he hearken unto them, as the Lord had said. And Pharaoh turned and went to his house, neither did he set his heart to do this also. And all the Egyptians digged round about the river for water to drink, and they could not drink of the water of the river. Right, so the Lord plagued ancient Egypt with turning the water into blood, man. So that was one of the plagues, right? One of the 7 plagues that was brought upon the land of Egypt back in that time. Okay, let's see where I want to. Okay, this is Exodus chapter 8. It says, and the Lord spoke unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh and say unto him, thus says the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. And the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house, and into thy bedchamber, and into thy slakia, and into the bedchamber of thy servants, and unto thy people, and into thine ovens, and into thy fields. And the frogs shall come up both on thee, and upon thy people, and upon all thy servants. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over the streams and the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. Right. So the second plague that was brought upon the land of Egypt was those frogs. Okay, and apologize if I look a little bit out of it. It's hard for me to see the camera because I didn't put the brightness up. So I hope I'm looking in the right direction here. But anyway, the message will be edifying nevertheless. Let's go back to see. Let's go to let's skip ahead a little bit. And again, if anybody wants to read that for themselves, you just go to the book of Exodus. Start at the first chapter, man, and just read on from there, man, because you should get the whole context, of the story, right? Like, how if you read a novel, say, you're not gonna, skip the first book and go to the second book, because obviously if you didn't read, the first story, right, the first part of it, you ain't gonna understand the second one. All right. Sorry about that. I just received a message. Anyway. Okay, this is we'll skip ahead a little bit. Okay, this is the book of Exodus, chapter. Let's go to. All right, let's go to Exodus chapter 11 and verse 4. And Moses said, thus says the Lord, about midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sits upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservants that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beast. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall it be like it any more. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know that the Lord does put a difference between the children of Israel and the Egyptians. Okay, right, so this final plague that the Lord is, going to bring upon the Egyptians here is going to be what? The final plague that, the Egyptians then let the Israelites go, because then they feared that, hell, we might as well let them go, because who knows, if we don't, that we're all going to probably be dead the next time. And it's true, right? If they didn't let him go, at that plague, which, Yahweh, brought upon them, then they were going to get it even severe, man, and get their own lives taken from them. Okay, anyway, let's skip ahead. All right, let's go to Exodus chapter 14. And let's start at verse 10. It says, and this is the Egyptians are now coming after the Israelites, right? Because they let them go, but they decided that we want to go capture them again, so we can make them once again into our servants, right? So they decided to go after the children of Israel. This is where the the Red Sea crossing takes place here. Okay. Anyway, Exodus chapter 14 and verse 10, it says, and when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and beheld, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, and they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, thou hast taken us away to die in the wilderness. Therefore hast thou dealt thus with us to carry us forth out of Egypt. Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. Right, so, these people back then, the Jews that, Moses was, leading to the promised lands, okay, they, they murmured, would be a correct word to use, right? Or in other terms today, they were blaspheme, okay, or talk shit about, for lack of better words, about Moses. And this happens all throughout the story of, the book of Exodus, man. This happens all throughout, the books of Moses, right? And every book, you always have the people, questioning, the Lord, and, being pissed off. Like, let's say for an example, if you read later on, they were, going to starve. So what the Lord did is he brought the ravens for the people, and then later on they did it again, but the Lord brought manna from heaven, okay, for them to to eat. Okay, just to name a handful of examples. Or the other miracle, which is the great rock, right? Moses struck the rock, and the rock brought out water for the people to drink. Okay, because then they were complaining that they die of dehydration. Okay, and by the way, for those who didn't know, they actually have found this rock. It's over in the land of Saudi Arabia. Just go on YouTube and look it up, and you can find it, man. All right, so it gives the authenticity that this really did happen. All right. Verse 13, it says, and Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, that he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel, that they may go forward. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it, and the children of Israel should go on dry land through the midst of the sea. Skip to verse 19 real quick. Let me just check the recorder. All right, we're doing good. It says, and the angel of Yahweh, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood before them, or Slaki behind them. It says, and it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of the Israelites, and it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night. Right, so the UFO, which that's what it was a UFO. It went and divided, so the Egyptians couldn't come and attack the Israelites, right, until the morning time, right? So Lord gave them, the night to rest, so in the morning they could be what's what I'm looking for, so they could go through the sea, right, with the Red Sea crossing, right, the miracle that took place. So we're going to get to that. All right. Verse 21, it says, and Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all the night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on the right hand and on their left. Right, now a good depiction of that, right, what that would look like would be, if you ever seen the movie, what was that? Yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, right? The Dead Man Tell No Tales, right? Near the end of the movie, when they found the Poseidon's trident, right, the sea split into two, right, like directly in half, right? So they were in the middle of it upon the dry ground, right? So that's pretty much the exact same thing that happened over in the Red Sea. Okay, just for a visual, for those who would have liked one. Okay. Anyway, bear for a second. Help is that. Let's see. Verse 23, and the Egyptians pursued and went in after them into the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's house, his chariots and his horsemen. And it came to pass that in the morning watch the Lord looked upon the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of the smoke, or Slaki, and of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians, and took off their chariot wheels, that they drove them heavily. So the Egyptians said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians. Right. Now, you can look this up, but if you go online and do your research, right, like say for an example, y'all might know about the one researcher, Ron Wyatt, right, which is the man who found the Saudi Arabian. In Saudi Arabia, they found the Mount of the Lord, right, the mountain of the Lord, which the Lord gave Moses the Ten Commandments on. Okay, and you can go look up this information. All right, very good information, man. And he was also the man who found the Noah's Ark over in Turkey, right, on Mount Arab, which is where the scriptures say that the ark landed. I believe that's what is that, Genesis the 9th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, for those who want to go read about that. Anyway, what I was going to mention is they found chariot wheels, right, and horse skeletons and men's skeletons at the bottom of the Red Sea, right? So, it begs the question is, well, wait a second, how the hell did that happen? And the answer to that question is because it's from this book here, man. Okay, this story actually happened. Okay, so you see, that gives the authenticity to the story. Okay, that we actually have these findings. Okay, so it just gives the authenticity, right, that these events actually did take place. Okay, because it's one thing to it's one thing to just say that something happened, but if you have, may I say, tangible evidence, or evidence that you can visually see, then that gives the proof that the thing actually did happen. All right, so you have it. All you got to do is go look for that the information out there, and you can see it, man. Okay, so anyway, I'll leave off with that information for now. Okay, as I said, go read the book of Exodus for yourself. All right, that's something we all should do, man. Okay, now I did want to answer something. So somebody asked me a question on the comment board the other day. I forget the individual's name, but he asked me a question about about the whole evolution thing, right? Because I was saying that that evolution wasn't true, and I gave a couple examples for because the whole belief in evolution is basically what that man evolved from from nothing, right? Man have just evolved over time, right? So I gave the examples of of how that couldn't be true. Like, say for example, the reproductive system of a human being. How could that have just came into existence without being intelligently designed? It just doesn't make sense, right? Or the eye, right? How the hell could that come into existence? Nobody knows. Okay, well, these guys just say it just happened, right, from an explosion somewhere, which is bullshit. All right. But he was saying that like, oh, well, there's no proof that any of this stuff actually happened, right? There's no proof. Well, I mean, hey, look, bud, all you got to do is take the information I just told you, man. Okay, go look up Ron Wyatt. Okay, you can look up all these things. You can get all this information for yourself. Just go on the internet and look into it. Okay, the information is there. You just got to look. Okay, so my question to you is, now that I can show you by tangible physical evidence that these places that this book speaks about, where these events took place, I can show you where they actually exist today. So, I mean, how could we pretend that the story isn't true if the places that it speaks about where these events took place are there? All right, you can look at today. Okay, so that's just a question I have for that guy, and you know who you are. If you're watching, you know who you are. So yeah, I just don't see how one could pretend that's not good enough, say, evidence to support what we're saying. If I can actually show you these places, so they actually exist. All right. But anyway, I'll cut the video a little bit short there. I'm gonna of course end off by giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for this truth, and I'm gonna say shalom.